Hey everybody, today is Saturday, August 12th, 2023 in sunny San Diego, California, and I'm Captain Perry here with you. If you're new to the channel, beside me here is a Scow Bow Mini-Cruiser that I'm building. Basically, my mission here is to build a strong, trailerable, 14-foot sailboat that's watertight and custom built to cross oceans. This week what I'm going to be doing is completing the 3 remaining cabin sole hatches. And since you've already seen me make 2 of those, I thought I'd mix things up by answering a few questions that you guys have submitted in the comments. If you have your own questions that I don't address today, please put them down in the comments and maybe we can do a round 2 of this. Oh, and before I forget, I have a goal to get to 10,000 subscribers this summer. So if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please do me a big favor and subscribe so that we can get there. Okay, let's get to the first question. Okay, first question. Peter B9038 asks, "Hello, Captain Perry. Welcome back. Just wondering why you didn't make it into a full skeg to protect the rudder. As you are going to be offshore, it would give more peace of mind." So yes, the skeg doesn't really serve to protect my rudder. It's just for directional stability. I once felt the way you do too, and I admired the full keel or full skeg boats that completely protected their rudder. But I've changed my mind about it, and the famous boat designer Bob Perry, who designed classics like the Baba 30, Islander 32, the Valiant 40, even switched to designing boats with unprotected spade rudders. His reasoning is that often the skeg is not really adding much protection, and the rudder can be built incredibly strong just on its own. For example, there was a sailor crossing to Hawaii recently in an Allberg 30, which has a full keel protecting the rudder. And even though the rudder was attached to the back of the keel, it still hit something on its side, and it completely broke. He failed to have any kind of emergency rudder setup, and he had to limp on to the destination rudderless. Now, Balushan, the boat that greatly influenced me to build my own, had a full skeg, and it's deep and skinny, as you can see here. He's since cut it off in favor of a short skeg like mine and a kick-up rudder. A deep, skinny skeg like this allows whatever you hit to apply a lot of leverage, and it's more likely to break off, leaving a big hole in the bottom of your boat. I feel, and I think it looks like Jan, who designed Balushan, agrees, that the better approach is to use a kick-up rudder or a cassette rudder. If you hit something, it's designed to kick up out of the way, and you can also carry a spare rudder and replace a damaged blade pretty easily. The cassette rudder is what I'm leaning towards. It looks like this. It's a rudder blade sandwiched into a housing with bungee cords. If it hits something in the water, it can kick up to save itself from breaking. Rubido I asks, "What's the plan for bilge pumps? I can't see any limber holes, and there are a lot of separate sections to mop out the inevitable splashes and condensation." Alright, several people have asked me about limber holes. In an open dinghy, of course, you expect to take on a lot of splashes and rainwater, and it's important to let the water flow to the lowest point so you can easily pump or bail it out. And in big production boats, even though their cabin is enclosed, they have so many opening hatches, vents, portholes. You got the chain locker, the prop shaft, all the through holes, and on that allow in water. I myself have seen a scary amount of water enter a boat just through the closed cockpit lockers alone. My boat's a little different. I only have one main hatch, no opening portholes, no chain lockers or cockpit lockers that drain to the bilge, and so on. It's a watertight cabin. I've purposefully left the structural grid below the cabin sole with no connections to their neighboring spaces. My thinking is that if we strike something and the hull gets holed in one space, I want to limit the water ingress to only one space. So I'm not so worried about all these leaking hatches and portholes and all that stuff. Since mine's more watertight, I'm more concerned about what would happen if you accidentally got a hole in the hull. So this way, weight could be shifted to the opposite side of the boat, and that way you can keep the damaged side higher, and then I can make emergency repairs. I was gifted a whale gusher pump by a viewer, and I can use this to pump out any area by placing the intake hose in the flooded space. As for condensation, it's not much of an issue where I live, but I know in a lot of colder climates it is. I'll just have to make sure the boat has good airflow and clean it up if any pools of water form. Luckily the boat's small and I've designed it to be very easy to access every part of the hull. Okay, Eddie Gear 1459 asks, Where do you get the PVC foam? This is probably my most common question. I'm not big on promoting any individual companies. If you're really curious, you can see in my first few videos when the foam was delivered. But what I always tell people is that where you get your foam is going to depend on what country you're in, and if it's the US, then what coast you're on. There are a lot of suppliers out there, and I recommend just getting 3 quotes, including shipping, and choose the lowest cost supplier. If you can actually drive to the warehouse and pick it up, that will save you a lot because shipping 4-foot by 8-foot sheets of foam gets really expensive. I spent almost $300 on shipping alone for mine. A little info about the structural foam. PVC foam core has a compression strength of 90 pounds per square inch, and it weighs 4 pounds per cubic foot. I chose a foam core because it's lightweight. It's a closed cell foam, so it's buoyant and water absorption is negligible. And it doesn't rot or fall apart like plywood eventually will. This foam is used in the construction of everything from boat hulls and surfboards to industrial tanks and wind turbine blades. By adding fiberglass skins to both sides, you get panels stronger than steel panels of the same weight. Next up, Dave Kimbler, 2308, asks, a self-righting vessel is great. Can you stand up in the vessel? What other means of propulsion? Had you thought of maybe doubling this size for comfort and still keeping the original design? The boat has sitting headroom only. I'll only be able to stand up with my upper body sticking out of the main hatch. For secondary propulsion, I plan to use a sculling oar. I really dislike the finicky gas outboards. They're just heavy, stinky, difficult to start, and unreliable. I may use an electric motor. I'm just not a fan of the added weight and expense of doing all that. As for doubling the size, even just at a 14-foot hull, I find the work and cost involved is a lot. I can't imagine going bigger. This October is going to mark 2 years working on this project. And with what I have left to do, I'm very happy I'm not building a larger boat. Sure, at times when I'm in this boat for long periods, it may be uncomfortable, but to me, in some strange way, an adventure involves a level of discomfort. I guess it's not that odd because look at all the people who climb mountains or camp out in the snow in an ultralight tent. If I was mainly concerned with making passages in great comfort or with great speed, I'd just buy an airline ticket. Tony Sutton, 6559, asks, did you consider filling the void with stones or scrap metal held together with liquid epoxy to add some weight at the lowest point of the boat to help prevent it going completely over in a knockdown situation? Good question. I tried to select a higher density expanding foam for the skeg, and with the G10 bottom and all the layers of fiberglass, it came out pretty heavy already. I didn't want to fill it with anything too heavy because of its location on the stern of the boat. And as you may know, you don't want a lot of weight on the ends of your boat because it can cause more hobby horsing. However, I still think the skeg I made is likely buoyant at this point, and I may cut out a bit of the foam and add some weight to try and get it so it doesn't have any positive buoyancy. I wouldn't want it to work against the self-righting abilities of the boat. But for the most part, the 2 keels, they'll have lead bolted onto the bottom of them, and that's where most of the righting moment is going to come from, not way back on the stern in the skeg.
Sailboat.
All right, well, that was a lot of fun. If you have any questions for me, please put them down in the comments section, and maybe we can do a round 2 of this. I want to give a big thank you to Wayne from Texas for sending me these solar connectors, and Thomas for getting me this awesome sailing jacket. Check this out. Check that out. Is that cool or what? What a great gift. Thomas has been a great supporter through the Amazon wish list since the beginning. If you'd like to help out the project through the Amazon wish list or any of the other options you see around me, check out the links down in the description. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and of course make sure you're subscribed. All right guys, I will see you in the next one.
Just 1 hour to make all preparations for getting on the way.
Hey, what's your name?
Home.
Come and get back to your station or I'll have you shot from your ear!
Well, shoot something!